Hello, team. For those of y'all I have not met yet, my name is Laura Carrasco, and I have the privilege of serving International Leadership of Texas as Chief Academic Officer. And here with me I have
Esmeralda Orozco. Hi, everybody. I'm the dual language Spanish instructional coach for K-12 for the Tarrant County.
So the purpose of our time together, these next 10 minutes, is to provide you with the overview of the ILTexas Dual Language Immersion Program, discuss the non-negotiables. We're going to start big picture, and then we're going to get into some of the details with schedules. But do know that this is only a 10-minute overview. Through subsequent professional development sessions, we're going to get into the details of the how. So, big picture, everybody I know is familiar with the ILTexas mission, and we know that the dual language program is at the heart of the mission. 100% of our students and teachers at the K-5 level are dual language learners or dual language English or Spanish teachers. It's also important to note, as far as the makeup of our classes, we've got students in our classrooms that are English language learners. We also have all of our kids are Chinese language learners as well as Spanish language learners. And the good news is that we're all looking at the same research. Best practices for ELLs are the same best practices for Chinese and Spanish language learners as well. Again, we've got a diverse makeup within our classes, and it does vary from campus to campus, but nonetheless, we're all following the same program. And some additional good news is that the two-way immersion program is growing in popularity. We have seen an increase in dual language programs throughout Texas, throughout the United States, as well as globally. And the reason that's good news is more and more we're finding that we have more resources, more expertise out there, and it's nice to have colleagues and partners across the globe. We also know that the dual language program is critical to the success of ILTexas because, again, it's at the heart of the mission and the #1 reason why parents choose ILTexas.
Yes, and our model is grounded in 40 years of research and best practices. This is the guru of dual language education, and we will be providing more training when it comes to language acquisition. Oftentimes, people would ask, or parents would ask, why do we follow this model? Because we want to make sure that students become proficient in the language, and we follow the dual language guiding principles to ensure that we provide best practices. And just this slide summarizes what are the benefits of bilingual education. It captures the reason why parents at ILTexas chooses to join our district, because they know that students will be capable to resolve problems at higher cognitive levels and will be able to communicate in 2 languages.
One of my favorites.
Yes, and you may be familiar with this graph. What basically this graph represents is students who were in a dual language model in the K-5 grade level, and it shows that they were participating. If you see the dotted line, the red thick dotted line, it shows that they master 50% of English proficiency in reading, and this was only on the 5th grade level. And if you notice the dotted line that goes up, it's the students that will continue to benefit all the way through 12th grade.
Okay. So again, the purpose of sharing those slides is just to convey the message that our program is grounded in research. It is research-based.
And just so you become familiar, when we talk about peaks and caps, when students acquire a second language, it takes up to 3 years to learn the social language, and it takes up to 7 years to learn the academic language.
So let's be patient with our students and with our teachers, and let's make sure we communicate with our families that It's not going to be in the first grading period that they're going to be fluent. It is a multi-year target. It's also important to note that at ILTexas, we've got the partner teacher model K5. So every one of our classroom teachers are either the English or the Spanish dual language teacher. Earlier I shared that dual language programs are growing in popularity. Well, this is one example. The NPR, actually throughout the summer, there were several articles published nationwide and globally on dual language programs, and this was one of them from NPR. They did a great job of, in the form of a comic, explaining the dual language program and the partner teacher model, which is very similar to the one we have at ILTexas. So, but as part of the partner teacher model, I love that they captured this particular message, is that the teachers work together, and like they're saying here, we do not repeat, nor do we translate, okay? In other words, the teachers don't do the same lesson in both languages. Students get a lesson in English, and then they move on to the new material in Spanish, and back. It's always a continuation, never a repetition. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, especially if you're brand new to the program, is how? Well, NPR captured in their article that the journalist noted that the Spanish teacher, when the kids were not getting it, she didn't give up. She presented the material in different ways. She had them doing total physical response, and she was manipulative as well as independent work until the light bulb went on. And at the end of the day, the partner teachers debrief. Jokingly, we say that partner teachers are an arranged marriage, but it really, the truth is that you are going to be working very, very closely with your partner teacher. You guys are an extension of each other. So please make sure that that is well understood, that you guys plan together, that you communicate, that you, and that you truly are an extension of each other for your students.
And our model at ILTexas, as already mentioned, it is 45% Spanish, 45% English, and 10% Spanish. It is very important that when teachers are in the Spanish classroom or Chinese, they maintain at least 90% of the target in that language that they're teaching.
Now, I know we have some middle school teachers and high school teachers potentially in our audience. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the K5 dual language model, because we share families. So it is important that you become well-versed in the essentials of our program, and know that even though the dual language program is only at K5, we are having conversations of how we can extend it to the middle school level and high school level by maybe beginning to teach some electives in a second language and content in English and Spanish.
And ACTFL, it's one of our partners. They're responsible for developing the ways we assess language proficiency. Use the same way that we assess language at K through 5th grade levels with the TELPAS. ACTFL is very similar. The only difference is, as you notice on the inverted cone, that it starts with the novice low level all the way to the superior. So they just have more proficiency levels. And the way that we also assess language is with the I can do statements, whether it's through interpersonal communications, speaking, reading, listening, and reading in writing.
Good news is that at ILTexas, because we know that the dual language program is the one and only model for all of our teachers and students, our assessment calendar and our K-8 assessments, whether they're reading assessments or math, science, social studies, they are all available in English and Spanish. Same with our textbooks. Reading, we've got Journeys and Senderos. The Texas Studies Weekly, they're available 100% in English and Spanish, STEM Scopes, and then the Envision Math. As far as the assessment goes, it's important to note that we are teaching kids to read in English and Spanish, so we're absolutely going to monitor and assess how they are developing as readers in both English and Spanish. We'll be using iStations instead of PPRI and Dehazle, and instead of the STAR AR. to track students and provide interventions. And again, all of the curriculum is available in both English and Spanish. And the instruction, the expectation as well is that it is parallels. What the partner teacher is teaching in English, or the partner Spanish teacher is teaching the same thing, but in Spanish, even though we recognize that they may need to linguistically simplify the material. Do know that, again, this is an overview just today, but in subsequent professional development and through your PLCs and through your district directors and academic coaches at the area level and the campus instructional coaches, that we're going to provide continuous professional development year-long in the how. Because ultimately, we know we're developing students to read and write in English and Spanish and develop their oral languages in 3. Also, it's critically important that we make that input comprehensible in all 3 languages. And this is true for our middle school and high school teachers too, as well, as we've got to make sure we're scaffolding and the learning and the content so that kids are successful.
And I know that the last year we had explored different rotations and models for our K through 5th. But we, this year, for the kinder and first grade, we're gonna have the AB day, same thing to teacher team, the Spanish and English teacher. Grades for 2nd and 3rd are gonna be the AB week, same thing to teacher, Spanish and English. And grades 4 and 5th, they're going to remain departmentalized with AB week, same thing with 6 teacher team and 6 group of students.
The biggest shift from last year or previous years is that this year we truly just have one uniform and unified master schedule. Everybody across the district has the same PLC time, exact same PLC time to the minute. And same thing with the rotations and the schedules. They are going to be identical across the district. We've taken what's worked, what hasn't worked. We've brought people in, solicited feedback from our various campuses and stakeholders. And again, we know that these are best practices. A1, A day, B day, 2nd through 5th grade, A week, B week. One lesson's always a continuation of the previous day or previous weeks. So here's K1. I like how Ms. Orozco broke it down. This is a detailed view, but in some you can see that it's important to note that the kids, and this is actually true K5, the kids follow their same schedule, same daily schedule every day. The teachers also have the same daily schedule every day. The only difference is in who you'll be teaching, what homeroom class will you have at the given time, but the schedules do not change, either A day, B day, or A week, B week. You'll notice here that for K1, they're with one group of kids in the morning, and then they've got a different group of kids in the afternoon with the midday switch. However, we do recognize that in some cases you may want to, some teachers may choose to keep the kids all day in the same language and teach all subjects to that same group of kids instead of the midday switch. We prefer the midday switch, but it may be something that you work towards, especially K and 1 at the beginning of the year. Now with 2nd grade, and here's an example, but with 2nd and through 5th grade, we've got it's the same concept except for the kiddos don't switch every other day. If they're with you, if your homeroom is with you in the morning for reading language arts, then they're with you all week for reading language arts, and then you'll have your partner teachers class all week for math and science. But then the following week is where if you had your homeroom, you'll now have your partner teacher's homeroom for the reading language arts, and then you'll teach your group of kiddos for the afternoon class. So I'm going to escape here. So just a quick little visual. Here's a group of kiddos. You'll see they're with this teacher in the morning. They're in English in the morning. Then in the afternoon, where are they going? To their partner teacher's class in Espanol. And it's not until the following week where they would start in the partner teacher's classroom and finish the day with their homeroom teacher, so that it becomes an A week, B week. Ms. Orozco, am I forgetting anything?
No, you just summarized it the way perfectly.
Perfect. So here we go, 4th and 5th grade, same concept, A week, B week. The difference is now we're adding the layer of having departmentalized teachers. So we've got 6 teachers, 6 homeroom classes. Week A kid will have 3 teachers, reading language arts, science, social studies, math, and then that following week, the B week, they'll have their partner teachers. Mm-hmm. So if they had reading language arts with their Spanish dual language teacher, they'll now have it in English. If they had math in English, they'll now get math in Spanish. If they had science, social studies in Spanish, they will now have to continue that instruction with their partner teacher. So for 5th grade and 4th grade, actually for K-5, it's critically important that you guys make sure you have conversations about having uniform and unified procedures for collecting the homework, for how you're going to communicate with each other daily as well as weekly, because you guys are sharing all of the kids. So by homeroom class, what are some things you're noticing, strengths and weaknesses, and then again, it's the uniform and unified procedures and rules and expectations since you share kiddos. Okay. Lastly, we wanted to delve into a little bit about the 5-year implementation plan. We know that our Arlington and Garland campuses are starting their 5th year of implementation, but then we've got Keller starting year 4. We've got Grand Prairie, Northwich and Hills, West Park and Katy are starting year 2, and then Lancaster, East Fort Worth, Saginaw, and Windmill Lakes are year 1. All that means is that year 1, all of our campuses started with a fully implemented K-1 program, meaning when those kids were with the Spanish dual language teacher, that teacher teaches 100% in Spanish. But if you have, like for our new campuses, if you've got a modified program, that means that for the upper grades, it may be that the Spanish dual language teacher may need to preview in English, then review in Spanish, and then review in English. So they will be using some English in their instruction, since the kids may not be ready for a full immersion program just yet. But nonetheless, the dual language Spanish teacher is teaching in Spanish, and only in Spanish during those chunks of time that it is at our Spanish time. And here, again, we're going to email this to you so you can look through it. It's just a little bit more detailed information of what it means. And but in sum, we know that it's a fantastic program, but we need your help with making sure we're implementing it with fidelity. And you're helping us involve our community and families. You're teaching on level. We never water down the curriculum. Just like our English dual language teacher, if we have an ELL kid, we still have to teach on level or above level and at the rigor of STAR if it's 3rd through 5th. Spanish has to do the same thing. The only difference is that they may need to linguistically simplify. So if in English, kids may get through 10 word problems, in Spanish, you may only get through 5, but it's about quality, not quantity. So it's, again, still that same rigor, though you'll need to linguistically simplify. You'll have a lot of anchor charts, lots of visuals and word walls, and make sure the homework is also in Spanish if it was taught in Spanish, English if it was taught in English, but you can always offer it in both.
And just as a reminder, as we were talking earlier, the social language, it's going to be embedded in all of different anchor charts or character traits or mission or pledge that students repeat every day, and or labels that we provide all throughout in the classroom and in the hallways. And just as a reminder that we have to model for our students, whether you're a teacher, principal, AP, office staff, whoever position you hold in our district, that we have to make an effort to try to learn those Chinese and Spanish words or sentence of the week and reinforce them during the cafeteria, hallways, recess, and morning announcements.
That includes bulletin boards. If you've got bulletin boards in the hallway that are shared, they should need to be in English, Spanish, and Mandarin Chinese, please. So that it's about the message that we're conveying, that this is at the heart of our mission and we're all supporting our kids. Okay, so we'll be emailing you this link to this video, this PowerPoint, and we just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you in helping us implement the absolute best program for our students to fidelity. Thank you for helping us fulfill the promises of our mission. You can get a hold of us through email or by calling the district office. We're just a phone call away or an email away. Email is always better. But do also note, even though Esmeralda and I are part of your implementation team and subject matter expertise, you also have Ms. Travashi, who's the director of ELL, Harris County area coach Diana Matos, and Ms. Fletes, who is our director of K-12 Spanish, and our entire academic department, from the 4 core academic directors all the way through the area coaches. We are all committed to becoming experts in dual language because we recognize that we need to support you, who 100% of which are dual language teachers and have 100% dual language learners. So thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Adios, Sai Chin.